Hi students! Today we are going to study Unit 4, intermediate level. Unit 4 is about modal verbs, okay? Modal verbs, they are very special verbs and they are auxiliaries and verbs at the same time, but they have lots of peculiarities that we are going to see in lesson 4, okay? First, I'm going to give you some general ideas of the modal verbs, and then we will start studying the modal verbs in categories, okay? First of all, modal verbs, they are auxiliaries. If they are auxiliaries, that means they have negative form and they are able to ask questions, all right? I'm going to choose one of the easiest and the most famous modal verb when students start studying English. It's the modal verb can, okay? We studied modal verb in basic level, but we studied just can and could. So I'm going to use can as an example of these three common characteristics among the modal verbs. So they are auxiliaries. If they are auxiliaries, I can use in affirmative sentence, right? So I say, she can dance. Okay? Pay attention, I'm not using the S for he, she, it, because it's an auxiliary. Auxiliaries cannot be influenced by other auxiliaries. We can't have two auxiliaries in the same sentence, okay? So no S for he, she, it, because we have can, okay? So another thing very important, there is no to between can and dance. Can is a verb, but at the same time it's an auxiliary. So we never use to between an auxiliary and a verb. We always use to indicate infinitive between two verbs. And remember, can is a modal verb. So auxiliary and verb at the same time, no to, okay? But anyways, we are talking about auxiliaries. So if it can, it's an auxiliary, I can use in affirmative sentence just right after the person, okay? So she can dance. And I am able to change into negative. When I say she, and then you can say cannot, or you may abbreviate and then you're going to have can't, okay? She cannot or can't dance. We are also able to change this into a question because we have an auxiliary. So when we are going to ask a question, first the auxiliary, in this case, can. And then the person, she. And the complement in this case is dance. So we have here the question, can she dance? And now we are able to give short answers, affirmative or negative. We can say, yes, she can. Or if you want a negative, no, she can't or cannot. So modal verbs are able to assume all the possibilities of auxiliaries, and you are never allowed to have two auxiliaries in the same sentence, okay? Let's move on. Number 2, they don't have all the forms of a verb. This is what marks a modal verb is this. When we study a verb, and we are in basic level, and we have that fantastic list of verbs, we find out that verbs have three forms in English. The infinitive form, used to, okay? the simple past form and the past participle form. So this is the big point of modal verbs. They don't have the three forms. Some verbs, for example, like can has a simple form and the past form. So as I was saying, I'm going to use can as an example of these things which are common among the modal verbs. So first of all, remember what teacher said. Modal verbs never accept to. So the infinitive form of a modal verb, forget it. They don't have infinitive form. They have a basic form in case of can, okay? Because all the modal verbs have different possibilities. So in case of can, no, never to. So that means the modal verb can has no infinitive form. Modal verbs, they don't have infinitive form. It's not possible to. Okay. So can has only the present form, but this is not infinitive, it's a present form. So it's a problem according to the list of verbs. And that is the past form could. However, we were supposed to have a past participle, but we do not have a past participle. Some modal verbs don't have the present form. They will have a conditional form, so that means they don't have the past form, not even the past participle. That means we have to separate modal verbs in certain categories and study according to these categories, okay? So remember, this is why they are considered modal, because they change so much. They are strange verbs, all right? But very good to use, students. You will see, very good to use. Number 3, they don't accept other auxiliaries. Yes, students, I'm going to use can as an example. So I told you that can has a present form, right? And a past form. And then you ask me, okay, Luciana, so how can I use can in future? Some students, sometimes they say this. She can dance tomorrow. Students, not possible. As I told you, can is an auxiliary. Will is an auxiliary. Two auxiliaries together in the same sentence is not possible. You have to decide, do you want future or do you want a modal verb in your sentence? I want a modal verb in my sentence. So I will remove will, but I want to speak about the future. And can is only used in present. I'm sorry, students, you cannot use can. You will have to use a verb, a simple verb, that has the same idea of can. So, neither will nor can. And you have to find another verb that means capacity in this case. So, you would have to say, she will be able to dance. I have to find a new verb that has the same idea of can, because you cannot use auxiliaries with the modal verbs. They have this form or that form, cannot be alterated. All right? These are general, I don't know if it's rules or peculiarities about modal verbs. And now in the next videos, we are going to study category by category. Okay? I hope you have just glimpsed just an idea of the modal verbs. All right? See the next video. Now we start the modal verbs.